A survey conducted last week by the Springfield Regional Chamber had some startling results about the impact COVID-19 may have on local business. 34% of those surveyed said they may go out of business, and another 47% reported that they may experience a significant financial impact. I asked Nancy Creed, president of the Springfield Regional Chamber, her reaction to the survey findings.
I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised. I know our nonprofit community is really struggling, and those are folks that rely on donations and community support. So from that perspective, I can absolutely see why they would see such a high impact. I'm also wondering if perhaps if we give it a couple of weeks, if we will actually see that same reaction. I think this is so new, and people are so concerned and nervous that I think they're also coming at it from an emotional place.
You mentioned the nonprofit sector. We've also been hearing a lot about restaurants and bars, as they either have to do only takeout and they can't have that sit-down service that they usually have. Do you have any sense if restaurants in the region are being harder hit by nonprofit? Is it about equal? What do you know?
I do. I think the hospitality industry and the restaurant retailer have been critically impacted. But I have been incredibly surprised at the resiliency of some of the restaurant owners to adjust their business model and move to delivery, curbside pickup, and in a really quick fashion. And I'm really impressed with that. But again, I think across the board, our hospitality industry is being hard hit.
To your point about that sort of quick pivot you saw from the restaurant industry as they're still learning and working through all of this, have you heard from other businesses who maybe did a certain thing but are saying like, oh, maybe we could be of help making masks or doing something else? Or is it kind of too soon to tell at this point?
I think it's a little too soon to tell. I've heard some of the larger manufacturers have been able to pivot, but primarily because they're already in that manufacturing space. I have been reaching out to some of our businesses to say, okay, if we need this, can you pivot to offer it? But I haven't really heard of folks just yet being able to do that, but I know they're thinking.
I want to talk about government response. We'll look at local first, if you don't mind. In Springfield, I know that Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno rolled out a new grant program called Prime the Pump, which he plans to extend to the restaurant industry. What do you think the impact of that grant program might be, or what do you hope the impact might be?
I think that impact is going to be significant because these are folks that have adjusted their business model but are still struggling financially. You know, they're the ones that don't have a lot of cash flow. And when your business declines, that cash flow declines. And so I think these are really going to be significant in bolstering our restaurant industry. So I was really pleased with the mayor that he came out with such a program.
Yeah, I heard that restaurant margins are pretty tight. You might even be going days or weeks in terms of your cash flow availability. Is that your sense as well?
Yeah, and a lot of these restaurants are small and kind of mom and pop owned, so they're not even taking a paycheck for themselves. So this kind of grant program is really important.
State response, we know that Governor Baker has announced a deferment of some taxes for these restaurants that we've talked about and other people in the hospitality industries, and that certain occupational and professional licenses have been extended so that people don't have to necessarily worry about renewing right away. At the same time, a $10 million small loan program that was available to some of these small businesses stopped taking applications 3 days after it launched. Have you heard from local businesses that were either able to apply or frustrated because they couldn't?
I think there's going to be frustration and concern across the board. I am hearing that there may be an additional infusion of cash, which is great. I also think they needed to stop the applications because I think they need to see where the funds are going at this point, because you never know, they may have some additional capacity after. But it is frustrating, but it also is a clear signal that folks need help, business owners need help.
Yeah, and I also understand that the state is appealing to the federal government for perhaps some small business administration loan flexibility there. So there might be additional help coming there between that state and federal connection. Are you hopeful that that's something that will happen?
I am hopeful. I think the SBA Loan Program is a great program, pretty low interest rates. So if they can expand that program, that would be really helpful as well.
Something that I have been hearing from small businesses, and full disclosure, my husband and his business partner are small business owners in the area, but there's this sense that we're talking about larger industries like the airline or national hospitality chains getting some sort of a support from the federal government, some call it bailouts, where for the small business community, we're talking about loans. There seems to be some dissonance there. Are you hearing small business owners who are angry or frustrated by that, or are they not even paying attention at this point, just trying to keep their head down and get things done during this time?
I think it's a combination of both, Carrie. I do hear from folks saying, I'm in the weeds, I can't really pick my head up. But then I am getting calls from members saying, the big versus small business disparity is growing. But I really do think, at least on the state level, that Governor Baker and his administration are taking that very, very seriously and have really, just look at the loan programs, are really trying to infuse funding access in the small business market, because that really is the economic engine.
Some potential really good news coming for both small business owners and employees, as at the federal level, paid leave is likely on the way. We're waiting to hear sort of the specifics, the guidelines attached to that program. I've heard that April 2nd is a date that we might get more guidance on how this program would work. But essentially, you would get 12 weeks of paid leave in one form or another. Is this something that is being welcomed in the region? Have you heard feedback about this yet?
Yes, what I can understand is there's some paid leave, and then there's sick leave relative to the coronavirus. And so we were pretty supportive of the administration providing that paid leave in the event that you get ill or you need to care for a family member. And the great thing about that is that they're actually going to reimburse small businesses for the cost associated with that. So we can provide that benefit to our employees and make sure our employees are taken care of, but at the same time, we're not unduly burdening small businesses, especially at a time where they just can't afford additional cost.
For you, as president of the chamber, is there something that government should be doing to help business at this time, either local, state, or federal, that isn't happening?
I think, I was on a call with the administration today, and I think making sure that we just have clear communication with the business community, and I applaud them for having weekly calls with us. I think there's so much miscommunication and rumors going around that we just want to make sure that we're all saying the same thing and that same thing is accurate.
Looking at the way that this compares to other dips we've seen in the business community, other difficult times for the business community, how does this compare for you?
I don't think we can really even compare it. It is so dramatically different, I think, for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is global. I think we've seen recessions and downturns and economic hard times, but not on this massive a scale. I think the other thing is it's emotional. It impacts people and people's lives. And I think that makes this very, very different.
In a recent email that you sent out about those survey results that we talked about at the beginning of our conversation, you said something I want to read here. You said, quote, "I do think it's a reminder that we're all in this together." What's your hope for the local business community right now?
That we all come together for the common good and understand that these decisions that are being made and the orders that are being imposed upon us are not to overburden us, but they are the right thing for people.